an overwhelming number of the Republicans and Democrats in the U.S. Congress are now saying interracial marriage is now illegal. I'm not making it up, okay, but we're going to go through the facts of why they're saying this, okay, and we're going to go through and see if it is truly so and why it is a major legal fact that we all need to reconcile with. Truth and reconciliation is part of peace. At the Priory of Salem Institute of Peace Studies, we go through the facts and we bring sobriety and peaceful, wonderful answers as God has provided for his people everywhere. So let's demonstrate some of the facts of the matter that leads to these fears of the laws being restored for each state. In all 49 states that had banned interracial marriage would be, again, back freedom to follow the Constitution, which says that they have the right, not the federal government, to override their right to vote to make their own laws locally. So what is at the heart of the matter here with the Supreme Court now undoing itself, okay, is, let's get to the last paragraph here. The non-enumerated rights are still being debated in the Supreme Court to realign under the Glucksberg Test. So if you don't know already, the Roe versus Wade overturning was to implement the Glucksberg Test. And that is now they're, okay, saying, look, you have all of these new rights that are created, as things get popular on TV, let's say some foreign enemy funds something on TV from an enemy nation, let's say China or Russia, communists, or some other country that wants to defeat us, and they're, looking to make a profit off of defeating us, whatever, the control. And when they do so, it becomes, they just call it a right because they know that's our vulnerability. Some new right gets, the new thing that everyone rallies around, but there's no test. So you have the 1999 Glucksberg decision, which now says, look, if it's not deeply rooted in the nation's history and tradition, and implicit in the concept of ordered liberty, then these are not defendable in the courts of the United States of America. And every court in the whole United States needs to follow suit. This precedent was confirmed not only in 1999, but reiterated in 2022, so there is no excuse for misinterpreting the law of the land, which is anything, if you read the definition of the law of the land, is in the Constitution itself. And it says any of the congressional laws that are pursuant to the Constitution. That means there may be sometimes a law passed that is not pursuant, but we do know for more than 100 years after passing the 14th Amendment, which said there's no discrimination on race, right? There's still 100 years later, even up to the year 1968 and the year 2000 in Alabama, interracial marriage on the books is still a felony, okay? In 28 states in the year 1968, it still had a felony. That means you can get up to 7 to 10 years in prison. But the reason why the Supreme Court continued to reiterate it is constitutional to put them in jail for 10 years for interracial marriage, the reason why it upheld it for more than 100 years after the 14th Amendment, one race is not treated worse than the other, it is not discriminating against blacks, because both the black and the white will get the equal sentence for the crimes committed. And the races are protected, people go on living in wonderful harmony, so on and so forth. Yes, perhaps there are those who feel they're going to lose wealth under the present system that, well, isn't really what Abraham Lincoln had in mind when he talked about emancipation, because all of his speeches talked about bringing the freedom of blacks to self-govern, have their own form of government, their own representation. He didn't want to put them under a new kind of slavery under the white man's rule in a forced mixing and integration, which is even worse. When he said, emancipation, it meant full-blown freedom of self-determination. We do that for the Native Americans. They have their sovereign nations taking up most of the American land today, where when you drive in there, you're going into sovereign territory of the Native Americans' lands, and what happens is they don't have to follow the laws we have for drugs or gambling or any of the state laws, okay, or federal. And they don't have to pay different taxes. You can buy gasoline at a much better price. You know, also if you're a registered member of the tribe where you just entered, guess what? They could drive on the rest of the American highways. There are treaties that they can go without a regular state driver's license. Okay, so their freedom is at a higher elevated status, plus they get paid. So don't anyone tell me that, oh, if you want to reduce the forced integration programs, that this is going to reduce how much money blacks get from the system. No, it doesn't at all. It empowers them to what they've all wanted, and what they fought for, and what Abraham Lincoln fought for, and what most of our forefathers fought for, who were on either side of that war. And it was not, we know that it wasn't about slavery, and for at least 3 years. It was, in Abraham Lincoln reiterated many times, it wasn't about slavery, it was about imposing a tax on the states who felt they were not represented. They had no one in electoral colleges representing them when he was elected. It's just basic 101 history, okay? And don't anyone try and twist this thing for, more of the central bank, credit fraud, forced integration programs, forcing us all in enslavement as cattle, okay? This is about freedom I have here. I want to turn everyone to the true definitions of American liberty. I'm going to put that on the screen, the American Tree of Liberty, okay, and the laws about our posterity and our estates, the self-government of the estates. Now, they understood what their posterity was. Even 100 years after the 14th Amendment was passed, the correct constitutional interpretation continued to have precedent after precedent after precedent. Protecting against the easiest way to lose your nation, that is, to lose your community, okay? Communities are important, all right? All you got to do now is have some sort of enemy nation could line something up. Their own government could pay to send men or women who look attractive, okay? And now all of a sudden they get married, right? So what does that entitle them to? Inheritance, right? So that's another way to get around the inheritance attack the Marxists want to do, is they just get in, they pretend they're like, one of us in our Christian white community, and then they go to lie and slander our Christian white community, call us whatever they want, say we're discriminating rather than empowering everyone. Like Jesus said, if you continue in my word, then you shall know the truth, and the truth will make you free. That's liberty. Bondage is when you're in lies. Bondage is when you don't know your rights. So we're going to share this slide on the liberty part of this whole equation, but really it should be clear. These precedents are set to protect the people and the posterity to get the estates. Otherwise, look what's going to happen. Any enemy country simply can just use the marriage laws. The Nigerian scams are going on like crazy. They say, you just can get next of kin status and you can get $1 million. And you know how many thousands of people have signed up to that, to be next of kin to a Nigerian prince? Okay. And now they're saying Iraq finding millions of dollars. They just want to transfer the millions of dollars. Just sign up your next of kin. Look, these scammers found an even quicker route to take the wealth. They're now making, it's a 14,000% increase of gender dysphoria, okay? That was unheard of. 0.07% of students had it, and now it's exploded to this, 5 to 10%? Okay, don't even know what gender they are because they're told in the school that it's not assigned at birth. You can sort of pick it, and it's not assigned in your DNA. So you got that, plus all the hormones they're pumped with and all this indoctrination. They're just told it like crazy. Okay, so look, that's the new way to, you take next of kin, okay, anyone who wants to interfere with their new right, their new so-called human right, guaranteed, right? Now they can take away yours. So what happens is when you get sued, you lose everything, basically. They can take your house, whatever they want, right? You know, millions of dollars, all those kinds of things, because when the state guarantees a new right, I mean, that means you get everything not from the Creator as an unalienable right. You get these artificial. So this is the divine providence we have, that the founding fathers put in there about natural laws from the Creator, okay? Not artificial laws from new kinds of DNA or fake things not found in nature, and cutting off body parts and making new definitions and taking away the old definitions and saying, if you want to try and use the old definitions, we can take everything and redistribute the wealth. You see? So that's what they're doing, is they can then sue your pants off. But all that it takes for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. We have the victory. The law is on our side. They want to bully us and suppress us. And yeah, probably they're going to have a few small battles they win. But I tell you, the sooner we get our act together and we go to court, we push back for our inalienable rights. What about ours? We don't have to surrender 99% of the population's rights for a new guarantee of something that's not enumerated, not rooted in the history, deeply rooted, I should say, in the history it's called, and it's not found in our traditions, okay? So this is an easy win, all right? Let's do it. People need to preserve the goodness around them, what God made is good, and it helps people to preserve and to support and bring health. Look, every single transgender surgeon has told the people, look, it makes you worse, and he warns against it. Now they want to do this to little children. They're starting to do hormone blockers, which comes out to chemical castration. This is literally against the Nuremberg Code, chemical experiments, basically, medical experiments that are banned in the Nuremberg Code. You can't coerce anyone. That's what they're doing. They're coercing people to take these hormone treatments. It's basically castration, okay? And to mutilate children into taking off their body parts, okay? Before they're old enough way old enough to drive a car. They can't even buy a beer for another 10 years, and you're going to tell them they can already choose to get a surgery to take off a body part. You got Joe Biden up there saying do it as quickly as possible. Okay? This is Nuremberg Code, war crime violations against a population, coercing a medical experiment. They don't know what will happen. There's no idea. You can ask the health secretary, who is dressed up as a woman also, and was born a man, and I think also has children already. He'll say, the only thing he'll say is, oh, it's robust. It's robust to force it through, yes, but it's not robust to check the pros and cons, okay? Just look at any country in the world. You have in the liturgy a part of most ceremonies for holy matrimony, okay? It pauses to say, does anyone know a reason why these two cannot be lawfully joined together? Okay, we know in Germany it's even more strict, okay? That if you know any reason they can't be joined together, speak now or forever hold your peace, right? Has everyone heard of that before? Okay. And people normally look around. That's because it's been deeply rooted in the history and traditions of our people that marriage is oftentimes illegal. And it could be based on fraud, it could be based on deception, it could be based on illegal alien takeover and invasion of a non-posterity community. Okay? You got to get this phrase into your mind. The founding fathers knew what they're talking about when they put the word posterity in there, and then for the next 300 years, it was illegal to have interracial marriage. Okay? Because look, and you couldn't get citizenship until the 1960s if you were another race. Okay? Still, it's debatable, was the precedent there, and is it still the precedent? The Supreme Court in 1857 told us that if a black is born, free-born in the United States, anywhere in the soil of the United States, they are not entitled to citizenship. Now, when was that overturned? We could say pretty much never, because there is no discrimination when you're talking about emancipating them from slavery even to a better state than they were in. This is empowerment, okay? And I'm talking about equal empowerment for all races from where we're at now, because it's gone. The legal rights that you have, you can take it to court. Let's understand what we have so that we can properly go forward. Now, I'm not saying for people to go and open up cases against the federal government. I'm just saying live according to the privileges God has provided you. Live in happiness and harmony, freedom and peace. Knowledge is power, they say, but also peace is knowing the end result. At the end of the day, facts are what we all have to deal with, okay? And do you want to know why they're all talking about interracial marriage is now illegal in the United States? Why they're urgently trying to push through the Senate right now? Now, you can also look, hey, sign our petition, please. We're on Citizen Go. You can go on there. I'll provide a link in the description. Please vote and pass it on. We need people to sign this thing like crazy, okay? This is so important that the Senate gets pressured, okay? This petition is going to be delivered to the Senate as soon as we get enough votes, as soon as we get enough signatures, okay? It's vitally important for the future of our civilization, okay? Literally, the definition of our right of holy matrimony, the foundation, okay, this is an establishment of religion, okay, that's been for all time, all right? This is an irrevocable establishment of religion which comes from our Creator, called an unalienable right, all right? They want to trample over it, although, as we know, it's been ruled many times, even if they pass a law and it's repugnant to the Constitution, that law is null and void. It's as if it was never even passed. And you can go into any court, show up, and you can get damages. If that damaged you based on how it violates the Constitution, that's too bad. I hate it that they had to make a mistake to go against the Constitution, but literally, that's what it says you can do, and it's all throughout there. The law of the land, if you want to look at the definition of the law of the land, it's only those laws that are pursuant to the Constitution. The ones that aren't, those aren't the law of the land. If they're against our treaties, if they're against our laws, especially mainly the Constitution, it doesn't say all the laws are the law of the land. It says the laws that are pursuant to the Constitution. So, if it's violating the Constitution, it's repugnant to the Constitution, therefore it's null and void. So let's just keep with what's peace and harmony, what's love. Guess what? God created and gave us, He created us, right? Our Creator. And He gave us the unalienable rights. So the laws that came from the Creator Himself, for nature itself, not the ones that go against nature, that are well known to be not in line with the creation and nature. Even the DNA itself gives you that every cell is stamped with a gender. Every cell in your body. There's no cell that's confused in any person's body. You can check it. Either it has an X and Y chromosome or an X chromosome for a woman, and you cannot escape it. It's not some, figment of people's imaginations or social constructs. Every single cell doesn't debate it. It tells you in each cell, in the DNA itself, the genes tell you what gender you are. the Creator, from nature, okay? There's no genetic modification that can mess with that. So if you want to say from nature, this is what it says in our laws. The word nature is invoked as tied to our rights. The constitutional rights are what is from in nature from the Creator. If it's something that's unnatural or artificial, it doesn't really per se have, if you're patented your DNA, let's say you got an injection that does something with the genes, maybe, I've seen there are, court precedents that say those patented parts of your DNA belong to a company. So, but they'll say, but the rest of your genome it's still yours. Just that one part they hacked, and they put in, let's say, mRNA, code to regularly spit out, and so on and so forth. That part belongs to the company that built it. And it's like a computer. The software running on the computer belongs. And what does the software do? It creates physicality. So the human body itself, just like Schwab, Bill Gates, and a number of other world leaders said, mainly, this fourth industrial revolution is going to change what it means to be a human itself. And that it is going forward. They don't have any legal challenges to it. This is one of the only few legal challenges that will come, is when we start to go back and we say, well, what is nature? I don't think anyone understands how vitally important this is, okay? Literally, they're wanting to say you can't read the dictionary definition of marriage. And if you do, well, that goes over the rights of every person to their foundation, okay? Their establishment of religion, which is undisputable, which it says, Congress shall make no law respecting establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Thereof what? The establishment itself. You can have the free usage of the establishment of religion. There's going to be no prohibiting it. Okay, the free exercise. That's First Amendment. Okay. And, well, when they make this a human right, they'll be able to invade any church, any place, any area, any company where you want to use the normal definition. If you have a dictionary, that's illegal. Okay? Once this law, literally, it's not, like I said, anything that's repugnant to the Constitution, that is null and void, but still, they're going to bully, they're going to harass, they're going to come down. I'd rather early, peacefully. That's why Priory of Salem exists, so that peacefully, early, gracefully, people can just have the good news of the kingdom. Now, I've done more than 500 broadcasts on the good news of the kingdom. That's what we have, okay? God has given us the victory. He's given us laws, and it will stand at the end of the day. The light shines. The true light of day dispels evil, okay? So stand fast in the liberty where Christ has made you free, and be not entangled again with the yoke of bondage. This bondage is sin. God's law is liberty, okay? And I encourage you to use this wonderful Tree of Liberty study, this analysis, to really know that God's service is perfect freedom. When we serve God, that is freedom. And that was the liberty our forefathers understood. That was the liberty that was being restrained, that was deeply rooted in the history and traditions of our people. Okay, and this is what's being restored. We're to use the laws that God has given us. We're not to do nothing. As it says, they who do nothing is worse than an infidel and has denied the faith. And, it basically says, if you don't provide for your own, you've denied the faith. Paul told us all, do good, firstly, to those who are of the household of faith, and then as you have time, to others. Because you could be ending up feeding the enemy, which is, okay, let's say, we love our enemies, right? But it's not talking always about the foreign enemy, okay? There's a difference. And like he said, if you bid anyone Godspeed and they're doing evil deeds, be careful, because it says, he that biddeth them Godspeed, you'll be partaker of their evil deeds. It says, don't even allow them in your house if they have a different doctrine. The doctrine of our fathers is unchangeable foundations in every generation. So we should do as Paul said, don't welcome them in your house. And Paul said, don't even eat with them. The ones that Christ ate with, they admitted they had sinned, and they wanted to change. They were humble. But those who say, oh, we have this new gospel which says there's no definitions anymore, and we can take away your definition and trample it. What does that say about your rights that you do have if you're not even allowed to use the definition of your most foundational establishment of who and what you are? You're not even allowed to have it. It just stirs the confusion to say now they can take away more rights and more rights and more rights, because everything is now up in the air. If even the most core foundational item is gone, totally gone, they can't even say, even though every DNA stamped with your gender, that definition is gone. So imagine what else they could steal. They could just say tomorrow everybody's an elephant, and if you don't believe you're an elephant, we can seize your bank account. And if you look at the 10 planks of the Communist Manifesto, that's how they work. That's what they did. And this was to profiteer offshore. They would take the wealth and use it elsewhere, feed the enemies, and that would be it. You know, don't believe the hype. We do want to empower everyone equally. We're not for turning any race against another. We're not for discriminating against any race. We're for empowering each unique race. Praise be to God. This is the good news of the kingdom, and this is going out for a preview to the public beyond just our normal courses at Priory of Salem. If you like this information, you could sign up and get the members only content. Now again, this is just a preview of what we produce. You can go onto our website, orthodoxchurch.nl, and find the subscription URLs and apply for the first level of inquiry. If you're accepted, you'll get in. You can also go onto our Substack, and you can get our normal paid and unpaid newsletter updates. So I think you'll like those also. I hope that this has been empowering. We're going to get this out to everyone because we want everyone to get liberated. I really pray and hope that you will consider and ask God how you can get this petition out to more people, because if we can get the word out now early, we can really save the day. That, look, if they're going to erase our rights of just the most basic things it means to either be a human or a creation or a natural person, imagine what else they can take away. Carl Schwab and Bill Gates and all the rest of them, these world leaders, are saying at the World Economic Forum, and I just browsed the link there a few minutes ago, and I'll put the link in the description also so you can check it out. They said they're going to change what it means to be a human. That's how they can take everything from you even more. That's bondage, and that's enslavement. That is not just redefining things. They think that, you just give it a new definition. No, that's theft. And thieves, it says in the Bible, when you catch a thief, you're to demand 7 times repayment. Okay? So everything that they stole from you, you turn it around and you get back 7 times back. And I hope it's not too late. And I really pray and hope that the posterity communities of our founding fathers, who, yes, just so happened to have laws for 300 years that had to do with their own tribe, just like every nation has. It's a beautiful thing, by the way. It's called self-determination. Okay? It's called freedom of association. Freedom of association is enshrined as a human right all around the world, and America claims to be one of the chief promoters of self-determination and freedom of association. So this is a wonderful thing. This is in compliance with all the laws of America. So praise be to our God that every single law that's pursuant to our Constitution is the laws of the land. Anything else could be transitory. It gets debated in court. Sometimes it takes a while, like Roe versus Wade, but it does eventually pan out. The pendulum swings back and everything's fine. So praise be to God. Do your duty. Keep praying. Keep doing what's basic and normal. To just, it says, petition your government for redress of grievances, peacefully assemble, so on and so forth. So enjoy it. Take care, and God bless you, and just have fun in this adventure to reclaim your estates, reclaim your status, reclaim what was fought for you and for others. Take care, and God bless you. Bye-bye.
Our nation is too full of those that are crying down. Down with the universities, down with schools, down with the churches, down with teachers, down with government, down with the police. Can you build anything down? You cannot. Certainly time in our nation to change our words. And let's begin now to use the word up. Up from all of this filth, up from this violence, up from this indifference of courts, up to the hid battlements of eternity, up to God.